Hey, Patreon Mouth, Olympus Reptiles. I don't want
Do your mic?
to. I do my mic? I think I did my mic. See, this is what we go through, guys. Yeah, it's been running for 3 minutes and 27 seconds. So you got probably me bitching about something on there before then. Hey, Patreon! Yeah, outtake. We need to do an outtake video sometime. The problem is I don't ever make mistakes, so we just don't have any. Okay. Okay. Hey, Patreons, now the Olympus Reptiles. Let's just start that all over. Today, I want to talk about this rack. So we just did the rack tour for everybody on YouTube. But this is really an interesting rack. And here's a little secret about me. A lot of times I just have something in my hands. It's not always because I need it. Like, it's because I'm a fidgety son of a bitch. Like, I'm always moving. For a fat guy, I move all the time. I don't know why this is there. Actually, I do. It's because I love chocolate. And I love Coke. But my blood sugar is actually really good. And so is my blood pressure. So fuck the world. I'm going to keep doing what I want. But that's why I often have something in my hands. It keeps my hands busy. It keeps me from being over dramatic when I talk on camera. It's a little trick. Sometimes it's a pen. If you watch, it's really evident on lives. Watch on a live when I do YouTube and watch how often there's something in my hand just to keep them kind of busy. Anyway, I'm going to use this big red rocket piece here as a pointer today. So we showed, first of all, I'm going to kind of tell you like why I have these snakes. And this rack is interesting because it contains some newer stuff and some older stuff. Some things we've acquired or held back over the last few years, along with some things I've had since the very first beginning. And I think that kind of shows a few things. One, it's going to show how we've evolved in our thought process for what we keep, and also kind of like, how we used to do things. And some of it's going to be more business-minded, some going to be more emotional. And I think to be successful, you need both. And what I mean is to be successful as a ball python breeder. Now, if you're just wanting to breed a few things and sell a few things and have some fun, and you're not worried about this being your job, you don't give a shit if it pays for the hobby, it's just a hobby and you're keeping, 10 or under and doing that, then you really don't even need the business side of it. You can just run purely emotional and be just fucking fine. But if you're like Kurt and I, where this is what you said, hey, I want to take this a step further. I love this so much that I want to do this every day. When you make that decision and you start taking steps towards that ultimate goal, which for us we've been doing now for a long time. I mean, it kind of started as just a retirement supplement idea for me, and then it kind of turned into to hell with that, why wait? And it's just grown from there. Your thought process certainly changes in what you keep, but you can't be just purely business, because if you become purely business, you take out all of the joy. And once you lose all the joy, it's just another fucking job. Right? And I already have one of those. I don't really want two just jobs. I love my day job, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't go there if they didn't pay me. I would do this if they didn't pay me, but I'd rather be able to get paid so I can do this more. Does that make sense? Hopefully that kind of rings a bell. And in order to do that, where I can make my living doing this and replace my income, I have to be business-minded on it. But I have to keep that emotional draw. So let's talk about some of these snakes. Now, we got Merlin. He was a mystic. I bought him pretty early on. And I bought him with the idea that I could pair him to a Mojave. So he was bought with a plan. I knew what I was going to do with him. This is also one of the first, I would say, expensive snakes I bought in Hades. I don't remember what I paid for him. I mean, this is years ago. But it was not cheap. I bought him from Tallgrass. And he's an Xanthic spider. And I bought him for a purpose. So you guys knew my first snake that was really a goal of mine was my zebra bee, which is Zeus. Zeus is awesome. And I had the parts to do it. I had a bumblebee male, right? I had a pastel head Xanthic female, and I had an Xanthic male. So I could have taken my bumblebee male, bred to my pastel head Xanthic female, kept anything back from that was bumblebee-like, and then taken my normal Xanthic male and bred to all the female bumblebees, hoping something proves out and gone from there. Or I could fucking cheat and I could buy a spider Xanthic and eliminate a whole chunk of that process. I bought a spider Xanthic and I eliminated a chunk of that process. Worked out really well. Obviously, he's Zeus's dad, so that worked out. This one here, this was purely an emotional purchase. That is Loki. He is a lesser. Kurt bought him when Kurt first got into snakes before we were combined. And Kurt really, he just wanted a couple snakes, He was coming to the house every day. We were drinking beer, not every day. Once a week, we were drinking beer, playing cards. I had snakes. My buddy Frog had some snakes. We were into this. And then we had Kurt, and we had our buddy, whose name I'm not allowed to mention because I agreed with him. I wouldn't ever say his name. But just know he's a Yeti a lot of times, right? Or the Bigfoot. Not the one we murdered. That was Redneck Jeff. He's the other one. And the reason is he has political aspirations. It's never going to happen. The world would be fucked if we ever elected that guy to anything. And but we said, we won't say your name because whatever. So anywho, till he gets over that, he was always sitting there playing. So two of the guys there had snakes, and Kurt was like, man, that sounds kind of cool. And then, we'd play with the snakes or feed them before we worked, or I'd have one, or Frog would have brought one of his over. We'd have a couple snakes while they were playing cards, just let them hang out with us. And so Kurt wanted to get into it. So one day I was looking at buying some snakes. The guy was wanting to sell two. He wanted one, I wanted one. The guy offered two additional males, Loki being one, for a really cheap price at the time. Still cheap today, actually.
You messed that all up.
Did I mess that all up?
What it was a Facebook auction on a female calico.
That's what it was. Yeah.
And then once you won the auction, he contacted you and had other snakes for sale.
That's right. And then we did that way. And I let Kurt have the female calico. That's how nice I was, even though I won it. And I took a male calico instead. And then he bought the female calico, and you bought two males, correct?
And then you bought the
Fire yellow belly.
fire yellow.
Yes, right. So we bought a whole bunch of snakes, got a good deal. But this one was, Kurt just wanted to kind of get into the game. So he bought that one. The GHI male, that was one I was hunting for. I didn't own GHI. I also bought that from Tallgrass. Again, this was an instance where I drove all the way to Chicago to buy snakes from a guy in Kansas. What the fuck? And I'd literally went all around Chicago. This is Tinley, mind you. When I had a break from the table I was helping run, it wasn't my table. And looked at all these GHIs. And I looked at Reed's, which is Tallgrass. And I was kind of torn. And Reed walks up and just sets it in front of me and quotes me a good price. And what was tearing me up was this. So this is a perfect example of something that I want to really push in this hobby. I think it's important. I think when you don't follow this, you're selling yourself short in the long term, And it would be like if I bought a shitty example of one of these just because it was one of these. I didn't. I bought a really nice one. The other animal I was looking at was a combo. It was a GHI something. I don't remember what the fuck was in it. But GHI something. Then there was another just GHI that I probably still could have got cheaper. When I got this, actually I think it was marked cheaper. And then there was this one. Your heart kind of says, or sometimes your brain says, go with the combo because it makes more things. But making more things isn't always what it's about. It's making the best things. This was by far the best example of anything I saw there for what I wanted to do. I ended up buying that one, not because it was the cheapest, not because it had the most genes for the money, but because it was the best example of the morph. So I spent a little more, trusted where it came from instead of it coming from an unknown to me anyway, and I got what I thought was the cream of the crop for the place. I bought Nyx on a Facebook auction. She was supposed to be female, ended up being male. There you go. So my plan was, of course, boom, boom. That was my plan. Had penises, already had penises, so it didn't work out so well. But then I was able to change plans and still use this in a very effective way. Next, we have Apollo, purely emotional. Again, that was a snake I meant to flip, right? I didn't even mean to keep him. Now I'm in this car on the way home from camp. I wasn't driving, I was being driven. And I'm just looking at this thing and thinking, man, why the fuck did I sell this? I'd rather just keep it. I didn't have the money to spend on that extra shit at the time, but I wish I could keep it. And then when that door was closed, I could have found a way to still sell it. That was like a sign from God for me, right? I'm like, guess can't sell it to them. I went and bought a bunch of shit, took the snake home, set up, called them, and said, yes, I'm not able to sell it. I had to go buy a cage for it. So I had to buy a cage for it. I got more, I might as well just keep it. Worked out good for me. He's Electra's mom. So it did work out, but it wasn't like I planned on that. That was purely and totally, The Mystic Potion. We bought that. Basically, there was someone that had some snakes that life just happens, and they couldn't keep them anymore. We had sold them two of the ones they had, and then they bought this one from Tallgrass. We knew the quality of it. We were there when they bought it. I actually saw it when they bought it, and they needed to put them back. And so we said, hey, we'll watch them for you, and if you ever decide you want them back, they're still yours. We did that. They've gotten to a place now where they said, hey, you know what? I don't think I'm going to be able to take them back. It's just not in the cards for me right now. So we actually are going to buy them from them. We just need to find a way to send it to him actually. But that was how we got that. So this was kind of an opportunity, and it was one we wanted anyway. So it did work out really well. Again, we had the parts to make it, but this came to us. So instead of using him now, we're usually using that one to do the same thing. This was a Kurt snake. Kurt had said he wanted these. He didn't get to go to Florida, so therefore I wanted to get them for him. How we doing? We're gonna behave? Oh, you're not gonna behave. Come on. We're gonna see if I can do what Kurt didn't do. You're so fat in the tail. I really want to get a look at you, actually. I want you to go moving. Whoa, that was a close one, wasn't it? I saw you try to do your little levitation move on me. Yeah, you can probably come closer to me than I want right now. You're almost so big you're going to like knock this hook over. You need to go the other direction. If I reach towards her face, and they're not as head shy as you can see, they're not going to ball up on you. I almost need a bigger hook, not because of the length of her strike, but just because of the thickness of her body. God damn it, I almost had you picked up. There you can see I'm talking about. She needs a poop. Okay, you're going to be that angry. I felt your teeth hit off the hook. We won't mess her up anymore. What I would probably do is add a little more moisture through here just to give her a better soak, or get the big hook tomorrow or this week and put her in a tub. Would be a good idea. Try to soak her to see if that will help her take her poop. A little bit of exercise, getting her to move like that. Also good for her to help her poop. The more she moves, kind of like you, if you get in the morning, you do a workout, what's the next thing you got to do? Take a shit, right? They're kind of the same way. It'll help get that poop out. So Thalia was another Kurt purchase. This one we bought as a business for Kurt. This one Kurt purchased on his own before we combined. And it was because Kurt loves clown. Clown was one of his favorite things, so he bought Trouser, and then he bought Four Sisters. They're not Trousers, sisters. They were unrelated. That's what's so weird about the whole caramel things. We bought the Four Sisters. We were told, hey, these were 100% het clown, possible het caramel. They were a het clown to het clown breeding, but the one het clown was known to be a het caramel. So, 50% het caramel, 100%, or they were a clown to a het clown breeding. A clown possible het caramel to a het clown breeding. That's what it was. And these were the non-visuals. So we knew 100% het clown, 50% het caramel. He bought all four. And then he also bought the adult male. The adult male was one that they'd purchased as part of a, we'll buy all this kind of thing. And then we wanted that. So yeah, it was flipped to us, but Kurt wanted that as part of building a clown factory. And the thing is massive. And as you can see, Trouser eats great. So there you go. That was definitely a Kurt thing. Now, Ara here, our het snow, we kept that back. We did that for part of the snow projects. We bred an exanthic to an albino to make these. And this guy was held back from that simply to make snows. That was his job from day one. And he hasn't made me one yet, but he'll keep trying. Probably one more year. If not, we'll go to a different way. I'll try to make sure, I mean, it has to be in there, but we'll double check by bringing him to the other one. The ghost bitch here. I'll show you her again, if she'll come out. Yeah, you're going to come out. Right here she is. She was purchased actually as part of an auction for charity. So I was in Chicago, I think. No. This isn't Wichita. This is in Chicago. This is at a big charity auction. It was Chicago. Same time I bought that JHI, I think. And I bought her and I think something else. I don't remember what else I bought. Was it that lesser ghost? Yeah. No. We traded that one. That was a trade.
Oh, okay.
We bought something else. I don't remember what it was now. I think it might have been one that I bought and then I sold to Jeff, who was down there, and I knew he wanted it. So I said, hey, I'll buy that, and then you can have this one for that. Because I was wanting the visual ghost. That might have been what happened. Anyway, the visual ghost, so it was sold like the same day, like they knew. It was bit me coming out of the bag. So the day I opened the bag, it came out of the bag, latched onto my thumb. It's just kind of, that's why I got the name it did. The Blitz, we kept the Blitz obviously to make more Blitz, Super Blitz, and to have some more Blitz to put out there. I don't think Blitz gets done enough. And I really want to be, if there's two things I want to focus on and be the man for, or the guy that's known for doing that, it would kind of be Blitz. Sorry, Reed, I know that's your thing, but I'm coming for you, baby. And also Exanthic, and I know that's John Dogg's thing. Don't care. I told him when I bought from him that I was planning on being in competition for him. Doesn't make us think they're both great. Don't get me wrong, but we obviously want to be a power or a force in that market. In order to do that, we had to build our Exantics like you saw. We've had to keep back a lot of blitz, which means less have been released by us. But I want you to think about what that means. We have our original male blitz. We now have the calico blitz female. We have this blitz female. We have the banana calico black pastel blitz female. So we're gonna be able to do a lot of really cool shit with blitz in the future. See where I'm going with that. So it's gonna be really awesome. So that was with the purpose. The 17-1502. This was with the purpose. This was because Kurt really wanted to make some super orange dreams. And so this was kept back for that purpose there. And
That's not what this one's kept back for.
what'd you keep this one back for then?
This is a female because I wanted a female.
Yeah, how are you gonna make super orange dreams out of female?
Because I have a male
Yeah.
dream and I have a female.
Oh, that's true. We kept the male back. So you just wanted this, is what you're telling me.
Yes.
Kurt just wanted it. So he just wanted that, so we kept it back. Not that we can't use it. Orange Dream will be good with a lot of things. I mean, I think we could make some orange sumas
I kept the male from that clutch back.
to make the super orange dream. Speaking of that, the suma. So the suma was one that was purchased with a purpose. That was some of the things you guys don't see. And Kurt and I have a great business relationship. That doesn't mean we agree on every direction. There are times I'm like, man, I know, this is what we should do. And he's like, I don't know, man. And I have to drag him along. And there are times it's vice versa. I'll give you two great examples. Patreon. Kurt was one who was like, man, we need to do this. We need to be one of the first ones at the table at this. Everybody else is already on YouTube. There's not a lot of people on Patreon. I think if we start that early, we have a chance to do something there. And I was like, who that? Like, what in the hell? Nobody's going to, do that. People aren't going to pay us for videos. So I really thought about it. We came together, and he still thought it was a great idea. I was like, well, what if we did this? And we have to give people value. And he was like, oh, yeah. Somebody sat and came up with it. But he kind of drugged me along on that one. Suma's one I think I'm still dragging him along on. He was, when I wanted that, he was like, I don't know why you want that. It's kind of just, he thought it was really plain. Again, Kurt really likes pattern in his snakes. Look at what he likes. He likes the inchy. He really likes some of those type of things that bring in a lot of pattern. This killed all the pattern. So to him, I'm sure he looks at this as like, that's a dark colored champagne. Why the fuck would I want that? Am I close?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, dude, trust me. This is a super male, which we didn't have a lot of at the time. We'll never make a normal, which is really good for what we want to do. Mahogany is going to be a hot thing because everybody's going dark. We can really go dark with this. It's a really cool looking snake. I wanted a Suma since the first time I saw them. I thought we could do some really cool shit with it. I also wanted to do a solid purple snake, knowing the black pastel, super black pastel banana may not work out so well. This can. And if I add black pastel to that and get truly jet black and then bring in my banana, I think we can do a nice darkish purplish snake, which would be awesome. So Suma, but he's come along. And I think he's come along because it's one thing to hear me say, hey, this is really cool, but everybody else gets excited about the Suma. So now he's like, well, okay, maybe I'm in the minority here, and he's kind of come along for the show. I've done it on snakes too. The freeway, I was not overly into the freeway stuff. I kind of felt like it looked cool, but I kind of felt like, you know what, I don't want to breed it. Because when you breed it, now I got all this shit that's either asphalt or ivory, or asphalt or yellow belly, and the value difference is so vast in the two, I just didn't want to fuck with it, right? But with that, when he was like, I really want one of those, like they look cool, it could be awesome to make some, I'm like, okay, well let me think about how to go about the project he wants to do too on the business front. So he kind of had to drag me along. And I came up like, well, if we do that, we need to buy an ivory. And if you don't care if we buy an ivory down the road, because then we can do this and not have that problem. He was cool with it. Boom, there you go. So that's sometimes how that relationship works when there's two of you. I will tell you this, with two of us, if there's something one of us really, really wants, the other one, unless it's just stupid expensive or just a really dumbass idea, the other one's probably not going to say no. Because if I can see that Kurt's passionate about a project, oh, the blood pythons, he's been talking about it for years, how am I going to say no? I want him to be passionate about it. And I understand that, okay, this is something we need to do because he's really into it. Maybe it pays dividends, maybe it doesn't. It doesn't matter. We do it all the time. This is something that I'll admit, I thought, man, this is going to be the coolest thing ever. If they come out with the camera attachments to do lives in full HD and all this cool shit, and then they fucking went, and they didn't ever come with camera attachments. You win some, you lose some. But when we both come along on board, we don't sit there and go, oh man, fuck, I told you that goddamn red phone was a horrible idea. Now we both came along together. And if you make that decision together, and once you make it, you decide to put that foot forward and go. And then if it doesn't work, it's both of you. If it works, it's both of you. You don't end up with that weird dynamic of, oh, I feel like this person's ideas are crap and dragging us down, and and then you just don't have that bullshit. We don't have that bullshit. Am I correct?
Yep.
Which is good, because that bullshit will destroy friendships and businesses, which is bad. And I've seen that firsthand. That's not just me talking out my ass. I've seen that kind of bullshit tear things apart. So don't let that into your business relationships. It'll make a difference. So anyway, that's kind of what happened there. Super pastel spot nose. Ended up being just a pastel spot nose. So this snake came to us for kind of two reasons. One of which, Kurt wanted it. Was one that he wanted to get into spot nose. And spot nose really hasn't worked real well for us yet. We may find where it will. But it also was to help a friend, And what I mean by that is, you guys heard me mention Frog earlier. Those who've been with us for a long time probably know the story. He had a really horrible motorcycle accident where it damn near killed him. I don't know how it didn't kill him, to be told. And his wife kept the animals. She tried to keep it going as long as she could. It got to a point where she just couldn't. We had taken some, we were watching some for them. And then when she wanted her animals sold, we sold them for them, and we didn't take any cut. We gave them all the money for it. And we bought several ourselves. The ones we bought ourselves included this one. And this was one that Kurt said, hey, I'd like to buy that. So we bought that. So it did two things. It helped a friend. It brought us in some new genetics. The fact that, I said it hadn't worked out so well for us yet, but again, we were both on the same page. I thought, yeah, it's great because of super pastel. I can use that, and we'll kind of have to play with the spot nose. The spot nose, the first one we put it to, didn't go really well, and the super pastel ended up not being super pastel. So there was things that haven't worked, but we will find a good spot for that spot nose. I do believe in that. It's just, the main problem is when I've bred it, not that it doesn't look cool, it's that my eye has a hard time picking it out. So I just need to get better with it. And then last but not least is the GHI Moho. Now the GHI Moho, that was a goal snake. So there are certain things you keep because they were goals you wanted to make. GHI Moho, Zeus, the Killer Zebra Bee, those are all goals. Kurt's Orange Dream Pastel, we make a Super Orange Dream. I guarantee you the first Super Orange Dream we make, we're going to keep because that was a goal snake for Kurt. We will not be keeping any of the clowns we produced this year, not because they weren't goals, but because of the caramel issue. And we wouldn't be able to, we want to move all of that out of our collection. So anything that Trouser produces, unfortunately, we will probably end up having to sell just because we don't want to keep caramel now that we know he's 100% het. We can't breed him to any of it. That may change when we get a different male. So if we pick up a different male clown, we might keep some back from that pairing to start a clown project that way. But that's kind of where that is. And that sums up the whole rat. Kurt, anything I missed?
No.
Anything you'd like to add about any of those snakes? Super pastel spot nose. Talk about that thing, because that was one that we bought. What else did we buy from him? We bought that from him, and we bought something else from him. What was it?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but I know we did. But what was your draw to that? Was it the spot nose, or was it more helping the friend? I never really have asked you that.
It was both, because spot nose is something we didn't have in our collection, and every time we'd go over there and help out or feed his snakes or just be around them, he had I think it was two siblings. He had a female super spot nose,
Or super pastel.
pastel spot nose, and he had a male super pastel spot nose, and we ended up buying the male.
Yeah.
And because, I don't know, I just liked it because every time I went over there, I was just one of the snakes I liked out of his collection, and then just to kind of help him out.
The thing I really like about that animal, like I say, I don't know how much we'll push spot nose through everything. We kind of have to just pick our battles on that one. Part of that's my fault for having so much damn spider and I just can't do it, But every time I look at that snake or do something with that snake, it makes me take a few minutes and remember back and remember my friend. And he did live. He lives out in California now. Him and his wife split because once he got out on his own, it wasn't going to work. Now, she was a saint. She stayed with him for years through everything, through the healing, through him eating through a straw. But it changed his whole personality and who he is. And it made him kind of different, be the best way to put it. So he's really not the same person that we knew when we knew him. and it's not the same person she knew. But that makes me always take some time to kind of think about that. And they were neat people because I got my 2 snakes and he thought it was so cool. So then he wanted one, and his wife was terrified. And I remember the first snake she ever held was actually my bumblebee, Apollo. And he wanted to buy Apollo from me so bad, and I wouldn't part with Apollo. I was like, I can't do it, man. And because that was one that she likes. And he started they started going to shows with us. We all bought rats together. And every time I get in there, so even if that snake never got bred again, I hope he stays with us forever because it makes me take a trip down memory lane. And honestly, I don't have a lot of time to go down memory lane. So the fact that it slows me down, it makes me think of an old friend that I don't get to see anymore who, truthfully, the person that he was, unfortunately, did pass away there. And the person that he is now, I mean, when I say he's different, his whole brain had to rewire itself. So his personality is completely different. His memories are different. Nothing is really the same. Very unfortunate. But that's life, right? So anything else you want to add, Kurt?
Nope.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. Sorry to end on a bummer. I mean, motorcycle accidents and whatnot. One of the reasons I don't ride a motorcycle is I drive a car like a bat out of hell, but at least there's a cage around me. Doesn't mean I'll survive, but I think it increases the odds. But, Kurt, you like motorcycles.
Yeah, but I don't own it.
You ever going to get another one?
Probably not.
Probably not. All right, guys, thanks for watching. You guys should tell Kurt whether you should get a motorcycle or not. If he asks enough yeses, maybe Jen will say it's okay.
She's fine with it. There's a lot of stuff I want to do, and I don't want to risk it.
I don't want to. Okay, fair. So what Kurt's saying is he kind of likes being alive now, so he doesn't want to take that great of a risk. But we'll play with blood pythons. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.